Welcome to my sports world. I just finished the Manchester United recap game analysis of this weekend. We are now moving forward and we're looking at the game that was yesterday. 49ers against the division rival Seahawks. A game we should have won. In my mind, it was a must win because if we want to hit the playoffs this year, we really need to win the division games. We are now 2-2. Not good. Not good. We are next week facing the Cardinals, also a division game. And if we can't beat the Seahawks, because they're bad, then we sure can't beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals who just trashed every team they played. I have to be dishonest. I don't know what the outcome was yesterday about between the Cardinals and the Rams. I didn't look that up. I didn't even pay attention to that. But the 49ers, the game yesterday was a game like it has been this whole season. You could see elements of the first game, you could see elements of the second game, you could see elements of the third game. All of those were packed in, and we got them yesterday. Let me start off by saying we got even more injuries this time. Trent Williams is injured. We don't know what the severity or the scope of that. We probably will find out today. Kittle got injured that he played through the rest of the game, which we know how that can be. We saw what happened last year when he did that. That's a scary thing. And there was a couple of other players that also got some knocks and stuff like that. So injuries are not our friend. This is nothing new. This is typical 49er stuff. We're one of the most injured teams in the league. Now, let me go a little bit different on this one than I have done on the other previous three games. We lost against the Green Bay Packers, we won against the Detroit Lions, and we won against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I said that winning against the Detroit Lions in the fashion we did, and winning against Eagles the way we did, was not a sign of strength. It was rather a sign of weakness. And the last two games has proven that right. We are a weak team, and you could say that is based on many things. It's based on injuries, but injuries are a result of skill, knowledge, and preparation, and conditioning, and exercising, and workouts, and training. So that's a club thing that needs to be looked at. And there's so many things. Play calling is one of them. Game management is another one. I mean, we saw it yesterday. Playing a whole, and this is so bad. I don't know which one is the worst, our defense or our offense, because in certain games the defense is just like head scratching bad, and then in other games they're good, and then you have games where they go from bad to good to worse to good to bad again inside the game. It just depends on the play. And yesterday was that we had moments of greatness and we had moments of total slip ups. Like, we hold the Seahawks to 0 points in the first half. I think it was. We went to the half with a 7-0 lead, 7-0 lead, and then we had some flashes in between. So, like I said in my earlier video, that our defense is like an on and off switch. It can be focused, it can be dominating, it can be enforcing their force and will on teams, like, and then all of a sudden 2 plays later on the same drive, it's like, what the fuck did the defense do there? And it's like, I saw it yesterday too. There was a couple of times where Seahawks could just run the ball up through the middle. It was like an interstate and a highway up there, and one of them led to an touchdown. And then we do stupid mistakes again. And stupid mistakes goes to like fumbling and turnovers and penalty calls, pass interferences and penalties that gives the opponent like chunks of yardage, interceptions, fumbling, losing the ball, turnovers in general. We are not focused at all. It's like the players are so out of focus on so many things. It's not just like one thing. And I don't know if this is a direct link to the play calling, but the play calling is becoming worse and worse and worse for each game that goes freaking by. Yesterday, the game calling was once again atrocious. It was outrageously bad. What is Kyle Shanahan doing? It's almost like he's calling a game because he doesn't want to win the game. It's almost like he's calling a game and calling the games based on the team's weaknesses instead of the strength of the team. This team is not being utilized the best way possible. This team is not being set up or played according to their strength, according to what their skill set is. It's so weird to see, and you can't come and tell me, oh, it's because all the key players are hurt and injured. If you have a well-oiled machinery, if you have a well-oiled system and scheme in place that can make you highways and interstates for our running games for Mostert, then the same highways and interstates can be created for Sermon, but for some reason it don't. And it didn't for Elijah Mitchell when he was running. So what is it that is not being given to the players that we saw a few years ago? Well, let me put it like this. The offense and the defense is not as good as it was a couple of years ago when we went to the Super Bowl. It's a totally different team. This team started to go downhill. It really started to go downhill the day we drafted. The day we traded DeForest Buckner. That's when this team started to unravel. This is when this team started to go downhill on the defensive side of things. And we haven't drafted any cornerbacks. And the offense is trying. I mean, you have a couple of players on offense that are really trying their best, but the system and the schemes are no longer being utilized. Why not? We, a couple of years ago, or we saw flashes of it, last year too, where the running game and the running scheme was, wow. Now it's just like just another ordinary NFL team. It's just another ordinary run. There's no finesse or ingenuity behind it. There's no like, let's do this. Let's do some new stuff. Let's try this. Let's work on this. Everything was like cutting edge back a couple of years ago. Now it's just like, this is like washed up stuff we saw 10 years ago. And I have to say that when I look at the games, all of them, not isolated, but when I look at all the games so far this year, the red liner here, the red thread through everything, is consistency. The lack of consistency. We're not consistent enough on offense. We're not consistent enough on defense for sure. And special teams is really bad. And can someone please explain to me why we are going for field goals and extra points when you know you have someone to kick the ball who's not a kicker and just messes up everything? As a coach, you know that your kicker is out of the game. And sometimes the kickers are the one who decides the outcome of the game. Yesterday would have been maybe one of those. because if we had taken a 10-0 lead or something like that, because I think we missed a couple of field goals. Um, was it one or two? I don't remember. I saw something about it, but at least we missed a field goal. In the end, it wouldn't have done much because it was a 7-point difference, but it would have done something to the team right there and then. You would have gone from 7 to 10. It would have given you some kind of a, it would have changed the game plan for the Seahawks as well, because 10 points you have to do something different than when 7 points. There's a different approach to the plays, to the drives, and the ripple effect from it would have been different. I believe that. What are they going to do now? Now they have to go out and sign. They have to. Another YouTuber that I follow a little bit said this really well yesterday. He said 49ers goes out to bus stops or bus stations and picks up players to fill positions. And I thought that was so fitting and so correctly describing how things have been going. So it makes me now wonder, with a groin injury to Gold as a kicker, it depends on the severity of it, of course, but a groin injury can last a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks. It all depends on how bad it is and what it is. I have played soccer where I pulled a muscle in my groin or tweaked a muscle in my groin, and relying on my legs and how to play the game. One time it took me a week and I was fine because it was just a light pull, but another time I pulled a muscle in my groin so bad it set me off for 5 weeks. So how long is Gold going to be out? If we don't have anyone else in the team than Gold, who's going to play kicker next week? We have to go to another bus stop or another bus station and pick up a kicker. And how many kickers is there around that are not rusty? The worst thing you can have from not having a kicker and you have someone else kicking it is like, okay, yesterday it was a punter. Punting a ball and kicking a ball is two different things. I was a goalkeeper, okay, in soccer. Not that this is anything remotely related. But, when I do a goal kick from the 6-yard box, the line, the ball is on the ground, and I do a goal kick out to the players out on the field, that's way different from when I hold the ball and I do a kick that is more looking like a punter's kick here. Two different things. You utilize your leg in two different ways. And there's two very different techniques. And muscle, it's like you train your muscle to do repeated muscle movements, and your muscle starts to remember each movement that you're doing, that you train it for. Kicking a ball on the ground and kicking a ball from your hands are two very different things. So we know that we can't use the punter anymore for the next game. So who are we going to go out and find? And you know what? The next scenario is just as bad as the one we had yesterday. Is to go out and find a kicker who maybe haven't kicked a ball in a year or two. That is almost as bad. They are rusty as hell. And if you haven't kicked a ball in 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, or even 6 months, it's going to take you at least 300 or 400 kicks before you are starting to get back into the rhythm. You better hit the fucking training ground right away and start kicking that ball from different distances. And we're not talking about just, extra points and stuff like that. We're talking about field goals. And you better be sure that you can kick field goals from 25, 40, 45, 50, 55 yards and be accurate. And if you haven't kicked a ball in 6 months, a year, or 2 years, good luck with that. Good freaking luck with that. We are so screwed on defense, offense, and special teams. And our coaches they're almost like they're paralyzed. Where are Kyle Shanahan getting these plays from? I mean, he's putting on some really weird play calls. And his game management is terrible. Terrible, if you ask me. Well, now we know that next week we have to play Trey Lance. He came in and did a okay job. I mean, what can you expect from a rookie that haven't been prepped all season long? He's gotten some packages here and there, and now you have to start like doing intensively updating on him with the starters, and you're giving him a week, and you're giving him this mental task of, I'm going to be the savior of this team. We're 2-2. I have to play next week. It's all on my shoulders. I'm the one who has to take this team to the next win. This is so screwed up on so many levels. This coaching staff, I don't know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is. I do know what it is. At best, Kyle Shanahan is a very good offensive play coordinator. An offensive coordinator. He's very good at that. Let's face it. He can come up with schemes. He can come up with plays. But he can also do some stupid shit, like he has proven in 2 Super Bowls. Is Kyle Shanahan a head coach material? Based on what I have seen since he came to the 49ers? No. 2019, he relied a lot on Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh carried this team, and the defense carried this team in many games. And they were the ones who got us through to the playoffs. Not Shanahan. Remember the runs that we had, the game we had against Minnesota and all the runs? Yeah. Remember the game against Seahawks when we stopped Seahawks on the freaking goal line of our end zone? And we denied them scoring? Yeah. You know, there's certain things there that Shanahan has no control over that are game-deciding factors. So most of the things that was game-deciding factors in our favor was not called on or done by Shanahan. However, the things that went against us was called and done and put into motion by Shanahan. Think about that. So is he head coach material for the 49ers? No. What I see so far, we're gonna be. I was hoping that we could be like 11-6, 12-5 team this year. That was my hope, because I saw a few losses coming. Maybe if we were really, really good, we could do 14-3. Now, after 4 games, knowing that we're playing the Cardinals next, we're going to lose next week. That's for sure. That's given. So, by the time we go into the bye week in week 6, we're going to be 2-3. Then we get a bye week and come back, and the schedule doesn't get any easier. Especially when you have all the injuries that we have now. God knows how long Jimmy's going to be out. But I don't think Jimmy will be the deciding factor if we win or lose games. Because his turnovers are just, and his incomplete passes are just so many. You expect more from a routine and experienced player like Jimmy. Lance, I can see having incomplete passes more than Jimmy, because he's not ready. He's been thrown out there to the wolves. He's like, okay, been told it's your gig now. Take over. So next week we have inexperienced quarterback on. God knows, without Trent Williams. I can see a painful game for Trey Lance next week. If Trent Williams is not playing next week, Trey Lance is going to be broken mentally. He is. Maybe even physically. This is the disaster, and it's a setup for Trey Lance to become injured. If Trey Lance is getting injured in this game next week against Cardinals, we are buck fucked before the league is even halfway done. Because of if Trent Williams is not playing, Trey Lance will be a sitting duck. He will be a sitting duck. And he's going to be facing sacks after sacks after sacks. Because I'll tell you, the defense of the Cardinals are as tough as nails. They're as tough as they come, and they are relentless this year. If there's one team in the whole league that has, there's two teams that has surprised me in the league so far. It's the Cardinals and the Raiders. Those two teams have surprised me beyond what I thought they would do. And on top of that list is the Cardinals. Too bad we have them in our division and we're meeting them twice. Unreal. So next week, Trey Lance is going to be a punching bag. He's going to be the targeted one. And with a poor offensive play calling, oh man, the defense is going to be exhausted, and the defense better show up. But if DeMeco Ryans is having another game where he's clueless about what he's doing, he wasn't as bad yesterday as he was in the other previous games, but there was some flashes here and there yesterday. That was like, what the heck is he doing? So we're now looking at what can we do to go forward. I say this season is already down the drain. There's no way of salvaging this season. Just give Trey Lance this season to be gaining experience and start doing some trades. Trade Jimmy Garoppolo as soon as you can. As soon as you can, trade him. I don't care what you get for him. Third pick, get it, take it. Next one. What can we do beside that? This season is over. This season is over, and we don't have any draft picks next year. Next draft, we have draft picks. Don't get me wrong, but they're worthless. Our draft picks next year is worthless, especially for what we need. Now, get Jimmy traded. Get a third pick for him. At least you can use that third pick to draft a cornerback. Okay. I see no other option. You have to trade Kittle. You have to get draft picks next year to rebuild this team. This team needs to be rebuilt. This team is a nursing home with a few young caretakers. I'm not kidding. This team is so old that next year we have to do a full rebuild, and we don't have draft picks. Who put us in that particular predicament? Do I hear Kyle Shanahan? Do I hear John Lynch? Yes. Both of them put us in a pickle worse than any other team in the NFL over the last 3 decades. I haven't seen anything worse than what I'm seeing right now. We need to at least change out 6 aging players, starters. 6 aging starters next year. And we had 3 picks. We don't have a first round pick. I think we have a second. I think we have a 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th. So 4 or 5 picks. But the 2 last picks are like, you kidding me? 6th and 7th round? You can't find anything decent there. 5th, maybe. 5th round, 4th round, you maybe can find something. But you won't find what you need. You need cornerbacks. You need another tight end. You need another linebacker. You maybe need another offensive lineman. You know, you won't find that in round 5, 6, 7. That's something you draft in round 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the most. But you know, when you are Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and you go out and you give up 3 picks to move up like they did, that is just stupid. And when you don't address the cornerback issue for 3 years, you know, this year, last draft, we did draft a few of them, but it was like, did we draft anyone with great potential? Are any of the one we drafted going to be, a success in the NFL? No. We drafted like 3rd string cornerbacks that have proven that As rookies, they can't really handle it. They can't deal with it. So next year, you look at it again and see how they improve. And if they don't, then you know you screwed up, busted pick. But when you are Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and your focus in is on for the last 3 or 4 years is to almost like let's draft the worst draft we can do year after year. Solomon Thomas instead of Mahomes? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Give up 3 picks to get up from 12th to 3rd to get Lance, when you could have sit where you are right now and gotten probably just as good quarterback as Lance. You know? It is unbelievable. This team is so mismanaged and so wrongly used that I don't know if we're. And the thing is, since we have given away all our draft picks, we have to do trades to get some of those back, and that means we have to trade Jimmy and Kittle at least, maybe one more. So let's say you draft next year. If you don't trade, what are you going to draft? You don't have a first. I think we have a second. I'm not sure. I don't really remember what we have next year. I don't think we have a third. I think we had a conditional third, but I think that went away. So I'm not sure what we have next year. I know for sure we don't have a number one for the next 3 years. That's for sure. Which is unbelievable. 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 I made up my mind. From what I have seen since Kyle came in and took over, his losing record is growing and growing and growing and growing on the field. But the wrong and the bad mistakes done off the field are just as bad. And this is going to catch up in the end because we don't have picks. We can't draft anything to improve. And you're going to go out and you're going to say, well, we can use the free agent market. What are you going to find on the free agent market next year? You're going to find the fallout from teams that they were not good enough for. And you're going to go out and get the fallout players from the Bengals, the Browns, Dolphins, Jets. You're gonna go out and pick those up for what? This team is so badly run. It's so badly run, and so badly managed, and so badly coached. It's unbelievable. You know what? I could do a better job than both together about recruitments, getting the team set up. Coaching, I don't have no knowledge about coaching, but setting this team up to win and have a good coach to work with, I could do a better job than this. Guaranteed. Because what I see is not impressive. And I want to, if I'm going to put the blame on someone, it's 60 to 65 to 70%. Let's say 60 to 70% Kyle Shanahan and 30% on John Lynch. Because John Lynch basically trumped through the draft this year. And God knows the other draft, what happened there. But when you have John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan passing on Mahomes and taking Solomon instead, that should tell you everything. That also should tell you a lot about the scouting network of the 49ers. What the heck are the scouts? Who are the scouts of the 49ers? Who are the 49ers relying on for scouting? Who's scouting the players to go and say, don't draft Mahomes, let's take the Solomon dude instead? Who is the scout that recommended that? Jeez. And I can go on. There's other drafts too. So. No, I know. This is. I feel that if we go into the bye week as a team with 2 wins and 3 losses, then I don't think Kyle Shanahan deserves to come back after the bye week. That week should be spent by sacking him. And we have to find an interim manager. And it should not be DeMeco Ryans. He's not good enough. We have to find an interim manager to take over. And I'll say this. Jed York. If we go into the bye week as a 2-3 team, you need to fire Kyle Shanahan. And you need to hire an interim manager. And I have the perfect candidate for you. It doesn't matter if he fucks up or not the rest of the season. But we need some fresh blood to guide this ship home so we can start fresh next year. That's my next video, and it's coming up soon because this is getting too long already. Take care.